Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about something that's been super important for my musical journey, and that is balancing staying physically fit with playing this giant behemoth of an instrument. In this video, I'm going to go through how I've navigated physical fitness from my teen years through my 20s, 30s, and now into my 40s, and what I've learned from some incredible professional bass players along the way. We dig into topics like this and much more in our weekly email newsletter. If you're not on the list, consider subscribing. Links in the description below. Let me be honest about where I was during my late high school years. I was a big fan of Taco John's. If you know that place, you know what I'm talking about. It's a Midwestern taco chain, and I would get, after school, I can't believe I used to do this, 6 tacos and a pound of potato olays, which are tater tots, the 6-pack and a pound, and I'd eat dinner that night. I was driving around in South Dakota, probably about 30 pounds heavier than I am now, at least, and not working out. Not exactly the picture of health. Got to college, kind of kept up the same habits, lots of Burger King, lots of this and that, and then by about my junior year of college, I discovered the gym. And I noticed a great impact on my energy, my stress levels decreasing, and I noticed so many great effects after the workout. My energy levels were better, my stress levels were lower, just all good things, and really balanced out so well the stresses that go into playing an instrument, and frankly, the physical toll that this big behemoth takes on your body. It really takes a lot to play this thing. I've always been into running and walking, and even during those freelance years when I was pretty sedentary, I would still get out and get 1, 2, even 5-mile walks. And after I started teaching and dropped some weight, it was very challenging because I was always commuting, but I ended up on the weekend taking some really nice long walks. I would do these like 10, 15-mile walks. I'd go with my wife and we'd explore Chicago, back in Chicago. And then moving out here to San Francisco, I've had a lot more open schedule. I'm not commuting nearly as much. So walking, even when I wasn't going to the gym, had been a big part of my life. These days, I have found myself going to the gym much more regularly, and that has been absolutely incredible for my bass playing. If I had to pick, I would go to the gym instead of practicing. I try to do both. We moved over to this side of town about 8 years ago, and I was doing a lot of runs along the waterfront here. We got William the dog. I took him out for long runs, so lots of cardio, but not necessarily addressing those things that you really need for bass playing, like strong core and strength training. And about 4 years ago, we joined up at the Bay Club here. It's our local gym, kind of nice gym, and they've got this great rooftop area that you can go out and work out on. And I got in the habit of going out in the mornings and like drinking a cup of coffee and being on the treadmill and feeling like I'm the king of the world, watching the cruise ships come in, all that kind of good stuff. And then the last few years, I've sort of settled into doing these 7 a.m. workout classes. So my current routine is doing a strength training class on Monday. Tuesday, some sort of core work. Wednesday, I do another high intensity interval training and strength training class. They call it Ignite over there at the Bay Club. And then Thursday, I do a spin class. So really getting my VO2 max up. It's probably the hardest thing I do all week. I love it and hate it in equal measure. Friday, I usually take off, or I'll take Mr. Chatterbox down here for a walk. And then Saturday, another high intensity interval training class, and then a little yoga on Sunday. So 6 days a week. I don't know how I ended up going to the gym and doing classes 6 days a week, but it's been a great supplement to my life and really keeping me grounded. It's amazing how I'll be working on something and working on some sort of balance issue or working on developing some group of muscles in strength training, and then I come to the bass and I find the exact parallel or how that has helped with a particular bow stroke or sustaining the bow or pulling out more sound or agility in the left hand or all those things. There's so many parallels, and it's amazing to me. It shouldn't be amazing, but it continues to be amazing how working on physical fitness directly helps my playing on the instrument. So I actually put out an episode where I clipped fitness conversations from different bass players, and I'll just share a few of the stories I learned from a few memorable bass players here, but you can check out the whole episode. I'll drop a link in the description below. Alex Hanna, the principal bassist of the Chicago Symphony, told me that you have to exercise if you want to be a healthy bass player. He told me that he knows very few people that play the bass and are healthy and don't regularly exercise. During his audition preparation years, Alex was doing a lot of running and yoga. He found that starting the day with yoga or meditation sets a great tone. You're starting from a place of peace and relaxation, starting at 100% rather than waking up and realizing, oh my goodness, today's the audition day. And I found that to be the case so much. Going to the gym and starting my day with that is just a great way to get going. Alex later got into CrossFit, and he said that CrossFit gives him so much more energy in his playing. Alex also made a powerful point about diet. He said it would be silly to see an Olympic athlete not eat right, so why would a musician be any different? And I found that when I have my exercise in order, I kind of crave foods that are better for me, and when I'm not exercising and not in touch with my body, that's when the Taco John's and the Burger King come back into my life. Or the donuts. My goodness, donuts. I gotta be careful with those. Donuts. I also had a great conversation about similar topics with Lloyd Goldstein, who's a music practitioner in Florida. Lloyd's back was bothering him years ago, so common for bass players, and he went to a chiropractor who told him that he'd have to keep coming back for the rest of his life. Lloyd's response was, that's not happening, and he got into yoga. And he was actually doing an hour and a half of yoga every day for about 15 years, and it unlocked creativity for Lloyd, which is super interesting. During his first 2 years of yoga, he started writing, he started drawing, and this just kind of poured out of him. Kind of interesting how getting in touch with your body can kind of unlock creativity like that. And David Allen Moore, who I've had on the podcast a couple of times, has a particularly inspiring story about fitness and making music. When I first chatted with him for the podcast, he was much heavier than he is now, and he was struggling with some nerve pain in his legs. He started working with a trainer, and his trainer suggested he try cardio. Dave had not been into running, but he started to get into it, starting with a couple miles on the treadmill, then working up to a half marathon, full marathon, and even ultra marathons. And I remember talking to Dave about how do you mentally deal with trying to run 50 miles or 100 miles? And he said it's not about thinking about the entire journey. It's just about getting from water station to water station. And I think that's a great metaphor for music too. I'm not thinking about getting through this entire piece. I'm just trying to get from letter A to letter B to letter C and so on. So for me, I start just about every day going to the gym. I find that's great. And it reminds me of an old Tony Robbins quote, which is to change your mental state, change your physical state. And I found that to be so true. If I'm feeling a little bit off or logy or whatever, as soon as I start moving my body and getting into my body, my mental state changes, and it's such a great energy to bring to the bass. And I've just learned that I need variety. I need strength training, I need core work, I need something a little more meditative like yoga, and all of that contributes to my bass playing. I feel like these two, the music and the physical fitness, are tied together so deeply for me, and working on one inevitably helps the other. So key takeaways: exercise, for me at least, is non-negotiable. If I want to be a healthy, long-term bass player, I need to have exercise in my life. It's not negotiable. Find what works for you. There are many different ways to exercise, obviously, whether it's yoga, running, CrossFit, some other form of strength training. It's all good. It's just all different, and it contributes to your music making, at least in my experience. Whatever you like, just find something that works for you that you can do consistently. Just like you want to consistently practice on this, you want to consistently have some sort of physical practice. And for me, starting my day with movement has been key. If I don't start the day exercising, it can be okay, but if I start the day exercising, particularly get up, hit the gym, I just have that momentum carry me through the rest of the day. For bass, strengthening the back, working on the core, working on the legs, that can be incredibly helpful even if you sit. When I have had some good leg days and I feel that core strength and that leg strength, I can feel that kind of radiating into my bow. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but I find that just having the whole package in shape helps. It's not just about the arms, it's just not about the shoulders and the hands, it's about everything. And diet matters. For me, when I'm exercising, I tend to crave the foods that also nourish me. But if I'm exercising and just eating junk food, that's not gonna go great, or vice versa. And I do find that exercise unlocks creativity. It's amazing how if I just go out and take a walk, all of a sudden the ideas start pouring, and the walking or other exercise also unlocks like a solution to a passage that I've been struggling with. It's crazy. Also, balance is key. Not overdoing it on this, not overdoing it running or lifting weights or anything like that. It's all about proportion and finding ways to develop your capacity without causing too much strain. And finally, thinking long-term is key. I want something to be sustainable. I want my habits to be sustainable. That's true on the base, that's true physically, and just trying to find that balance. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I feel like I'm closer than I have been in past decades. Looking back at my journey from Taco John's to today, I can see how dramatically fitness has improved my life as a musician. When I'm consistently working out, I have more energy, better focus, less stress, and actually better bass playing. The great bass teacher Paul Ellison likes to say that we're athletes of the small muscles, and I find that to be so true. But we're also athletes of endurance, flexibility, and mental focus, so taking care of the entire package, not just the small muscles, is key. I encourage you to find your own path with fitness. Start small, find something, if it's just taking a walk, that you can sustain and build, and just like good practice habits, good physical habits are nothing but net, in my opinion. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe, give it a like, leave a comment below about what fitness routines you're into. I'd love to hear that, and check out what we've got linked up. We'll see you there.
Taco John's 6-pack and a pound. 6 original beef tacos and a pound of potato ole.
What, dude? Are you pooping? Okay.